Harris Faulkner. This is the Fox Report. It's the bottom of the hour. Time now for the top of the news. Secretary of State John Kerry is getting ready to return to the Middle East for peace talks with Israel and Palestinian officials. This video is from a trip he made there earlier this month. And we know the timing is important. Just last week, Israeli government expressed anger over learning the United States had been gathering intelligence on them through the NSA. Kerry is expected to leave on New Year's Day in what will be his 10th trip to that region since March. All part of a push to move the peace process between the Israelis and the Palestinians along after 3 years of silence. Molly Henneberg with the news live in Washington. Molly?
Yes, Harris, as far as what's different this trip, this time Secretary Kerry reportedly will present a written framework agreement to the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Secretary Kerry reportedly will present a written framework agreement to the Israelis and the Palestinians.
And hash out, or help to hash out, if he can, any changes or disagreements. Kerry has said that any final deal will guarantee Israel's security and, quote, fully respect Palestinian sovereignty. We haven't gotten a lot of details on this round of deal-making, and one Middle East analyst says that could be a positive sign.
There's never been a negotiation where both sides have been this disciplined and this restrained and not leaking things. Now, that means one of two things. Either there's something there to protect, or there's nothing there, and people want to create the impression that, in effect, there's a real process here. I think at the moment, we're somewhere in between.
Miller says if there is an agreement on paper, it doesn't mean a two-state solution is going to happen anytime soon. He says what's written on paper is one thing, but implementing a deal over time between the Israelis and Palestinians is, quote, another matter. Harris?
You know, there's a reason why we haven't seen much movement in the last 3 years or so. There are some real sticking points between these two.
And they seem to be always the same ones. Yes, Israel's right to exist, Israel's need to protect itself from Palestinian terrorists, the borders of a potential Palestinian state, and the control of Jerusalem. Those are some of the big sticking points that we hear again and again. One Republican lawmaker says he doesn't think Kerry's efforts will do much good.
They've seen that every time they've given up land trying to buy peace, whether it's now southern Lebanon they gave away back in the 90s, the Gaza Strip they gave away, it ends up being a staging area from which they get attacked. And I think they're tired of doing that.
They're talking there about the Israelis. On this trip, Secretary Kerry will head to Jerusalem to meet with Israeli leaders, and he'll also go to Ramallah, a Palestinian city which functions as an unofficial capital, to meet with Palestinian officials. Harris?
Molly, thank you.